Hey guys, Joe Madden here, the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. It is Monday, August 22nd, and I'm joined by Dave Rogers. You can find him on Twitter at Picks from Dave. Dave, welcome back to the show.
Hello, happy Monday.
Happy Monday. How was your weekend, Dave?
It was good. It was slow. It's slow out here in the desert, but that's good. Had some family in town, played with the dog a little bit. It was good.
Okay, bringing up dogs. I'm going to squirrel for a second. What kind of dog do you have, Dave?
She's a half French Brittany, half lab. I've posted a picture too on Twitter. I'm not one of those, dog fanboys that posts, pictures of their pets, but I'll throw one up there today so everyone can see. But she's 10 months and she's my little lady.
Oh, she's a baby. What color is she? Black?
Black.
Okay, I have seen a picture of her then in the past, but can't wait to see another one today, Dave. You guys, you make sure you go and follow Picks from Dave. He is crushing it in the industry. Dave, you have a new show. Let's hear about it.
I do. So started last Friday, and see, a lot of us see a lot of competition out there, which really bugs me because the main goal, I think, is to take money off books and casinos. They do that to us. They're not our friends, so we shouldn't be theirs, and we should sort of band together, I think. Just my opinion. But anyways, a lot of times behind the scenes, I'll jump on a Zoom call like this or text or DMs, and we'll cap with other cappers and share ideas. And I thought, well, we all have different styles. We all see different things. I've caught mistakes for others. They've caught mistakes for me. So why not show the capping process in sort of a guys and gals in the garage sort of situation where it's casual, and we can discuss all the games. We went over the entire Major League card last Friday. It went 4 hours. It's meant to be a live show. You can go back and watch it, but it's really meant to be interactive. And we fielded questions from the chat. And it's also a time to watch the game. Some of us were having a cocktail or two. But it's called Nerd Talk, the Capper Collective. And that's what it is. It's a collective of cappers, some really awesome cappers from all over the world. And that'll be every Friday and maybe another day during the week. But right now it's every Friday at 8:30 Eastern.
Okay, so are you looking at the rest of the games on the board for that night, or are you looking ahead into the weekend as well?
So yes. So I did this. It was strategic right before football season because what's going to happen is we're going to ramp up. So right now it's baseball. It'll be baseball and college football. But eventually, when you've got college football, NFL, NBA, and college basketball all going on the weekend, we'll have 300 plus games to talk about. So we're going to cap the whole weekend.
Absolutely. I love it, Dave. I think this is a great concept. I love how that you're trying to unify the cappers in the world because you are right. It's us against the books, not against each other. I've always loved that. Life's too short to think we're in a competition with each other as well as the books. That's for sure.
And we're not taking each other's money. We're taking their money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love it. Talking about taking the books money, we have MLB today. We also have an NFL preseason game. This game doesn't look too great for the NFL. It can be ugly, but you know what? We could have some good plays. We've got a couple quarterback issues there where they're trying to work out who's going to start, especially for the Jets. Andy Dalton in there. So it's going to be an interesting one. Any thoughts on this?
Not really. I've only bet 3 games, 2-1, and it's so difficult to know, especially with these two teams, how many starters are playing. There are teams like the Rams that know they're not playing any of their starters, and then there are teams like the Falcons and the Jets who are wandering in the desert trying to figure out what they're going to do. So it's really difficult to cap this game. If I was forced to take a bet, I'd probably take the underdog in the points just because that's sort of my thing during the preseason, or at least that's where I start looking. But I have not capped this because of the two teams that are in it. I know they're going to be trying to figure things out, and there's no sort of I'm sitting these guys or I'm not. So they're wandering in the desert, and I'd be too. I'm off this game.
Yeah, and I apologize. I said Andy Dalton. I meant Joe Flacco. As soon as it came out, I was like, what the hell am I talking about there?
Guys.
Flacco. You know what? Those two guys I always mix up, and I don't know why. No clue why.
I wouldn't either. They look completely different too. But I guess what they are is they are washed up starters that should be backups and maybe not be in the league anymore. So
yeah, absolutely. Because Zach Wilson did get injured in that preseason game, something that we don't want to see from a team's starting quarterback. That is the issue some people have with preseason football. What are your thoughts on preseason? Are you happy there's only 3 games now?
I wish there was no preseason. I mean, I know they need it, but it's nothing that I get excited about. It's not real. The reason why I really don't jump in and cap it, like I said, is I think they're less concerned, unless you're the Ravens. I think you're less concerned with winning and more concerned with giving your team a tryout and playing schemes in certain situations and testing things out. So it's good for them, but to me, it's just a bunch of practice games. And but boy, I can't wait for the regular season.
Yeah. Do you think we're better off seeing these joint practices like we're seeing a couple of these teams have, where they're practicing against each other and there's less injuries in the joint practices?
Yeah, so there's pros and cons to that, I think. I can remember back to high school, we'd do the same thing. You'd have scrimmages versus other schools, summer leagues, that sort of thing. I think it's good for injuries. I think it's strategically, I don't know that you want to basically come against another team and show your hand right away. So again, the schemes that they're going to be calling might, they're going to be very kind of close to the vest. As far as injuries go, I agree. But then again, whether they do that, that's a practice game to me. These preseason games, they're practice games. It's all just practice in a different form.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we have 9 games on the diamonds today. Some interesting matches here, Dave. What are you looking at?
I'm the one that jumped off the page, and now lines are getting real difficult. Usually with baseball, it takes the bookies time to get rolling, but right about after All-Star break, they make the lines real hard, and we're seeing some big favorites and things. But I'm looking at the Mets and the Yankees.
Okay.
And I'm definitely on the Mets side. The Yankees are in actually they are in a slide, and the Mets are on the come up. There's an argument right now, and especially with Giancarlo Stanton out, who the better team is in New York, and definitely the Mets are playing better. Max Scherzer, Domingo Germán, those are the 2 pitchers. Max Scherzer, Domingo Germán's pitched okay and actually pretty good in August, 3.05 ERA. And Max Scherzer is obviously Max Scherzer. He's 2.33 for the month of August, 2.15 on the year. But no one would argue that Domingo Germán's the better pitcher. So there's a lean there, definitely in starting pitching. And then the Mets at the plate have really just been tearing up right-handed pitching the past 2 weeks. 288 average, 822 OPS, 174 ISO, which means they're getting extra base hits, and their run creations 134 WRC plus, which is well above average. So the Mets are crushing it. And the Yankees, on the other end, they're at the very, very bottom, 201 average, 571 OPS, 65 weighted runs created. That's almost half of what average is, so they're way below average. And they're striking out the second most in the major leagues, 28.5 K rate. So, again, big lean to the Mets at the plate. And then the bullpens, the Mets do have a lean. I'm leaning towards the Mets, too. It's not as egregious as the other 2 areas. But really, when I'm looking at all these, it's Mets. And the Mets have been on a tear the last 17, 12-5 their last 17, 4-1 against the Yankees last 5, 13-6 last 19 on the road. Everything points to the Mets. And so the way I'm going to bet it is the run line. Money line's too juicy. Run line plus 110. That's my bet.
Yeah, I love this. This is a game that I already bet earlier this morning. I took the New York Mets in the first 5 on that run line. I also took the over 7.5, and I know Scherzer should come out here strong, but I do think this is one of those games where the Mets will get the majority of the runs for us. I think we can count on the Yankees to maybe get 1 when it turns over to the bullpen. So I do like that over 7.5. It's 8-2-1 in the last 11 to that over. So should be quite the interesting game here, but I love the Mets to get a nice big win on this one. Just can't trust these Yankees right now, although they didn't get swept by the Toronto Blue Jays.
No, but there's another sort of correlation too that I didn't mention. And even though we talk about Aaron Judge and the Yankees are way deeper than just Judge, there's a correlation between him doing well and the team doing well and him doing poorly and the same. So Aaron Judge, your last 10 games, the Yankees are 2-8 their last 10 games. And Aaron Judge is 5 for 32, 156 at the plate, only 1 home run and 3 RBIs. That's in 10 games. That's the guy that was hitting 2 home runs a game, before. So there's definitely a correlation between the two. He's sort of their spark plug, and we're going to ride the wave.
Absolutely. Anything else you're liking on the Diamonds today, Dave?
I do. I also like the A's team total against the Marlins. Now that's kind of, people's eyes might get wide. The A's at home, they're not a good team. They don't play at home, but it's at 3 right now.
Ooh, that seems low.
Yeah, it is. And it's juiced. It's minus 122. But the two things, one is Pablo Lopez, who was a great pitcher the first part of the season, has had a really bad August. His ERA is over 7, so he's been getting tagged. And the bullpen, their ERA the past 2 weeks is almost it's 4.15, so it is over 4. So they're not pitching very well. And the Oakland's bats the past week have kind of woken up. They're more average than below average, which is good for the A's. But one of the things is their walk rate's really good. It's 11%. Anytime you have a walk rate over 10, that's high. So they're getting guys on base. And if you've seen Moneyball and Billy Beane, it's about getting guys on base. That's how you score runs. So I think 3 is way too low, even though it's juiced at minus 122. That's a good bet, A's team total.
Yeah, I think that is definitely a great way to go with that game, Dave. I want to wish you all the best on the Diamonds today. Let us know where to follow you as well as where to catch your new show.
Yep. So Picks from Dave on Twitter. I post picks every night. I also post my results day by day on my Twitter page. I'm also a Picks at Dave at YouTube. That's where I do daily pick videos. I will also have a show. It's called Nerd Talk, the Capper Collective. That's on Friday nights at 8:30 Eastern, and we'll go into the night as long as we want.
I love the name. Where did the name come for the show?
Okay, so I labored over the name over and over, and I'm not very creative. Picks from Dave obviously isn't the most creative name, but I wanted to include, well, first of all, the Capper Collective came from someone else that's better with words than me, and that's exactly what we are. But the Nerd Talk is, I call people nerds. I say, hey, what's up, nerd? That's sort of my thing. But if you think about it, there's nothing nerdier than a bunch of people getting excited to sit down and talk about statistics and numbers. So cappers are just a bunch of freaking nerds. So it's Nerd Talk.
Don't tell everyone, Dave. Don't tell everyone what real nerds we are.
We're all nerds.
We are. I was an accountant in my past life. So yeah, definitely a nerd. That's for sure. Dave, thank you so much for joining me here on the Joe Madden Sports Podcast. You guys make sure you go over to Twitter. Follow him at Picks from Dave. Instagram yet, Dave? Up and rolling?
It's in the works. I know it's supposed to be. Instagram will be here, I'd say, within the next week.
Awesome. You guys, all the best in all your bets today. Keep smiling and let's make some freaking money. Thanks, Dave.